Hey guys, TJgamerbros here, and I'm finally gonna do a video review of a video game. And this one, I took my time to actually study this. I was actually gonna do this about a month after, but after a couple of issues, I kind of delayed this a little bit. I'm gonna review a little bit Planet 2, as you see in the background there. Yeah, there's the screen right there. I'm gonna base this off on 5 categories. Here's how I plan to do the reviews: story, presentation, soundtrack, gameplay, and most importantly, the replayability slash fun factor. And let's get on with this. Little Big Planet 2. Alright, so what's different from Little Big Planet from Little Big Planet 2 in terms of story? Well, Little Big Planet 2 actually has a plot now. The first one didn't have a story that much. It was just some random character stealing stuff from other worlds. Not that big of a deal. This time, however, our enemy is a giant purple vacuum cleaner that manipulates creatures from other worlds or destroy them. Well, good thing my mom has a purple giant vacuum cleaner at her closet, so I should be worried. Anyway, so while doing the intro, the vacuum attacks your intro stage, and then you're sucked into a character known as Larry da Vinci's world or planet. So anyway, to make things short, there's an alliance going around, and somehow, since you're involved in this, they want to recruit you. But before you actually do, you're gonna have to do some tests to see if you actually go, if you got what it takes to be part of the alliance. After you do, you help around other worlds, you help uh, other characters, and they join you into the fight. The story here is kind of um, weird, to say the least, but it actually is kind of entertaining at the most. It's not the best story told, it's been done dozens of times. And here in the story, how should I put this? It has a very satisfying ending after you beat if you beat the main story. So, if I have to give it a score, I give it a 7 out of 10, which will give it 1 point into that scale. So, right now, so far, one category done, and Little Big Planet 2 has 1 out of 10 so far. Alright, so the presentation of this game, I'm going to base this off on how the game looks, how the game presents itself graphically, how it's designed, the online factor as well, how that is presented as well. First, let's get to the graphics. The graphics look alright. I mean, it's not. This game is not a game that can show off graphics. It looks good. That's how I want my games. Just simple, not complicated stuff. The designs of the levels are actually quite clever. Some levels, while you progress to the game, you either go into a side shooter game, platformer kind of thing. And sometimes you have to solve a couple of puzzles before you actually progress through the game, to the level. Sorry, and they and the story gives you enough reasons to show you off their new stuff. I mean, the grappling hook does what it does. It is a grappling hook, and it's quite useful. Actually, the presentation of how the levels are designed are basically showing off the new stuff. The grappling hook, the power glove, the cratinator. You can do a lot of stuff with the cratinator. You can actually shoot water or fire or plasma or even bombs, or you can do whatever it is that you wanted. I just checked out how you can design a level with a cratinator on it, and you can actually create you can actually create something else other than the default settings it has. You can actually shoot characters in there. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, the presentation looks fantastic. If I have to give this a score, I'll have to give it an 8 out of 10 on this category. The reason why I did say there's an online factor here. The online at first, it was laggy and it was a long loading time. It was a long time. Uh, it's to be expected because the game was clearly expected for many of us who own a PlayStation 3. And Little Bit Planet 2 was the game to own on January. Sure, there might be other games, but hey, for us PlayStation 3 owners, we got this. Yay! So the online factor was kind of, it diminished the score because there was the factor that you can have long load times if you're trying to join somebody online or somebody's trying to join you online. At the beginning of every level that you choose, you're asked if you want to join other players online, and that could be annoying. Reason being is that if you do happen to accept that, you're going to expect probably 5, 10 minutes, sometimes even 15 minutes load time. Because the factor that you have to connect to the player online, not to mention that you have to, even if you do get to see what he's doing, you may not enter the level at all. Sometimes you're just there watching him playing the level until he gets to a checkpoint in which you can spawn to his level. That can be annoying, but it can be remedied by going to the options yourself. You can actually ask to not ask that question to join other people online, and you can auto reject people if people trying to join you on your game. So if you want to play alone, I suggest you play alone first, and then you go to the online thing. So let's keep this short. It's an 8 out of 10, so it still gets 2 points despite the online factor. Now, with any good game, you have to have a good soundtrack to complement the game. And Little Bit Planet 2 does that. It does complement the soundtrack very well. Um, there's some select songs that you can actually hear while you're playing. It has some pop stuff, techno. It has some heavy metal or metal. I don't know how to distinguish rock music at all. Anyway, and you even got classical music. And in terms of the final boss, you have a great orchestrated music. I was, I listened to all the soundtrack. I listened to all the sounds, all the songs in the game while I was in the create a level mode. I was listening to them, and all of them are actually good. I mean, even though I don't like techno that much, the techno song they have here is actually kind of catchy. So it has that going for it. I'm gonna keep this short. The soundtrack is what it is. It ain't something spectacular. It ain't something epic. It's well balanced. It has a well balanced soundtrack. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 on this category, which will give it 2 points. So as of right now, after the free categories right now, it has 5 out of 10. So right now we're getting to the juicy part, which is the gameplay and the replayability categories. So those are the juiciest ones, and those are the most important. These free categories that I just mentioned are important, so they're sort of like extra to the game. So right now, let's get to the gameplay. Like all good games, they have to have good controls. And Little Bit Planet 2 is pretty much basic, and it's actually quite good that it complements the player. You have your standard jump button, which is the X button. You have your square button that activates the menu, which you can customize your character, or you can place stickers throughout the level, etc., etc. And you also have the L2 and R2 button, which can move either your hands or your body, depending how you set up the left stick, because sometimes if you press the L stick, you can move your body when you press the L2 and R2 button, and when you press it again, now you can move your hands. So whatever you want to move is quite good. The gameplay here is basic. You got the D-pad buttons to give your character emotions, so that's good. What I liked about Little Big Planet 2 is the fact that you can create movies now, and that's kind of good. You can make cutscenes to your levels, and that's amazing. I will give this a 9 out of 10 because there are some flaws in the gameplay, but overall it still gets 2 points. Now, since I'm almost done with my review, this is the most important thing, and this is where I'm gonna put my thoughts into Little Big Planet, even though I already said it in the previous 4 categories. Little Big Planet 2 is a great game overall. It has pretty much the basic of what you have of a great game, and it has that extra flavor, those extra things that make it much more special. And not only does Little Big Planet 2 up the ante what the original did, it also has a lot of replayability. There are some levels that people create that are actually good. A couple of months back, somebody actually created the first dungeon from The Legend of Zelda. I played it and it was actually amazing. Somebody most recently, the one that Meteor Kill picked, there was a level that somebody designed which is more like a tribute to Pac-Man. And it's actually quite good. I mean, it is Pac-Man, it's pretty much basic. What Little Big Planet 2 does here, it adds more stuff to it. You can actually make a lot of variety of genres here. Platformers, RPGs, puzzles, etc., etc. So, not to mention the online is pretty much basic here in Little Big Planet 2. Online is necessary to play this game. If you don't have online, then Little Big Planet 2 will just seem like any other normal game, to be honest. Now, when you play it alone, you're gonna have fun. When you have two persons around you, it could be fun too. When you have 4 people around, it could be a lot of fun. Not to mention that chaos ensues if you're purposely trying to kill somebody. I had a couple of friends who just plain out destroy me. uh, anyway, this will get a 10 out of 10, which will get 2 points. Now, with that said, story gets 1 point, presentation gets 2, soundtrack gets 2, gameplay gets 2 points, and this one gets 2 points as well. So the final score of Little Big Planet 2 is a 9 out of 10. It has its flaws, but it's a great game. And I will seriously not be surprised if this ends up being one of the top contenders for Game of the Year 2011. Anyway, guys, that's my review of Little Big Planet 2. I'm sorry it took too much to actually make this video. Again, I already explained that at the beginning of this video. So, I will be posting other reviews in the weeks to come. The ones I will review at the very moment will be Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, and Pokemon Black and Pokemon White. With the final review coming up, which is Mortal Kombat, I am expected to do a very detailed review of this one. So anyway, guys, this is Gemini Wallace signing off, and I'll see you in my next video. And I hopefully won't take 2 months to do this.